Yeah, let's get the show started. What's up, everybody? It's the Arty 84 show. We're live here. It's episode 197, almost at 200 here. As always, to the left of me, Adam the Mallet,
Hey, everybody.
Blockbuster Video. And we have a guest tonight, and she'll be joining us in about, 15 minutes or so like that. So, and we'll bring her in when that happens. So, yeah, big day yesterday for the Red Sox, huh? Nice win from the Yankees.
I know it's always good to see their $230 million pitcher implode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like didn't the Sox have Cole's number back when he was in the Astros too? I feel like during that American League Championship back in 18, they kind of dominated him.
I hope so. It's about time because remember the Yankees had Pedro's number, so it's nice to see that we got someone. You know?
It's funny that this year was odd with the Yankees because Steinbrenner refused to pay the luxury tax. And we got to remember, it's not old man Steinbrenner, it's young Steinbrenner. That's why they didn't spend. That's basically Aaron Boone was using the excuse last night that the reason they didn't win was because they didn't spend as much as they should have spent. And the Steinbrenner kids were trying to keep the. I still think George is still alive. He's been dead for I think 15 years now.
I was just looking that up actually.
It feels like he's still alive the way they run that team. But the kid, the oldest kid, runs pretty much
2010.
Was it that long ago? It was 10 years ago. Yeah. So 11 years ago. So yeah, they didn't want to hit the luxury tax, so they kind of shot under the radar. So they didn't. But they have Giancarlo Stanton. You have Judge. Gary Cole is not a bad pitcher. It just they can't beat the Red Sox. And then you went out there and you got Anthony Rizzo, which was a great prospect for the Sox that we got rid of. And what's his face? Gallo, Joey Gallo. I mean, you have I was looking at that lineup. You pretty much had an all-star team as your starting lineup.
Yes, true. I saw they were talking on the radio, and I completely agree with what they said. It felt like neither team before this game that neither of them really wanted to win. Both of them have their major issues. The Red Sox have horrible bullpen, and towards the end, it seemed like the Yankees didn't even really care that much. But it felt like neither team really wanted it.
Well, that's because the one game wildcard sucks. It should be a 3-game series. They should go 3, 5, 7, and 7. Right? I mean. It's so stupid because it's like you have this one stupid 1-game playoff, and we all know baseball is not a 1-game playoff type of game. You know, it's like in back in the day when you go to the 1-game playoff, it was like the last case scenario, right? It's like, all right, you're tied in every tiebreaker, you guys are tied. Like when the Yankees had to play the Sox in '78, right? Yeah. So and then you had to flip a coin to see who got the home team. Yeah. But if you did a 3-game series, and I mean, you could even do it where you gave you could start everyone at the same time. The first round could be 3 games, so maybe you give the bye to the best 2 teams, so they get a week off, right, and they can get started and whatever, and make it kind of beneficial to get that number 1 seed kind of thing, you know. But a 1-game series, I mean, in a 3-game series where the Yankees beat the Red Sox, it probably would come to a game 3. I would say. I'd give the Yankees a shot, so it'd make a little more of an interesting series.
And
No, I kept forgetting that this next round's for only 5 games. For some reason, I was locked on at 7 games. I just don't. The Red Sox have been out of the playoffs for so long. I haven't really paid attention to the first game.
It's true.
So
yeah, I am a little pissed though because honestly, I have lost all respect for JD Martinez. All fucking respect in the world for JD Martinez. You mean to tell me? Okay, so it's the playoffs.
Yeah.
Remember, you've had players. Remember back in the day, players if they had broken a finger, or whatever, bleeding. Like that. I mean, bleeding, right? You would at least think JD Martinez would be available to pitch it, not play the outfield, but at least make himself available.
I think he is available. I think he will be available to pinch hit during this next series. I think, and I think they may be. Here's the problem though: when JD's in the lineup, they have a worse defense on the field. The defense they had last night was ideal. Because you get what's his name, Schroeder, the guy they got from the Cubs over the trading deadline, he was playing DH, and he's a pretty powerful hitter. And JD Martinez in the field actually brings down the defense. He's not that good of a defensive player, and you don't want to waste putting him in as a DH because you figure you're gonna take Schroeder out of the equation. I think the best bet is to have him activated, and if you need that, righty off the bench, kind of. You could pinch him, and you just hope he hits a ball deep enough to at least get to first base, and then maybe you just pinch run for him. So it's maybe it's one of those situations where it's like you just need that extra offense, or you need that extra base runner, or an RBI for that matter. I mean, ideally, you just hit a home run and you just limp across. You know what I mean? So,
Or didn't Kirk Gibson, when he hit that home run, didn't he have like a sprained ankle or something?
Both his knees were broken. I think
Yeah, and like fucking, and also too, like JD Martinez, he's not. He's like last year, didn't he like not? He quit because he couldn't listen to his walk up music or something. Wasn't there something like that? He's fucking retarded.
Here's the problem. He has his options up at the end of the year, and he has 5 days after the World Series ends to let us know if he's going to stay or not. Unfortunately, in Major League Baseball, the DH might be going away as of 2022, but that won't be voted on until the owners meetings that are usually in December, right? It's usually like a week or two before Christmas.
Really? I thought it was the other way around. The National League would be adopting the DH. No,
that's what I mean. Yeah. What I say?
You said they'd be getting rid of the DH.
No, it's not. That was my bad. I meant the pitcher batting is going. The DH will be universal. Yeah, the universal DH is what I meant. So with that said, there are a lot of players out there who are going to get a job. In fact, there's 15 clubs that are going to be looking for a full-time slugger instead of so I mean, so guys like Schroeder, guys like JD Martinez will now have the luxury to shop around an additional 15 teams who are willing to stock up of a DH. But this is not voted upon. They won't know this until the owners meeting. I know it's been talked about. I think the players union still has to agree on it. I think they want to get rid of the DH. I mean, get rid of the pitching and keep the DH on both leagues.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I hate it. I personally hate the DH myself, but
I know you do. I know.
I'm more of a traditionalist when it comes to baseball. Like the pitch is batting. I mean, every pitcher batted. They're in little league. They're in high school. They're in college. So why aren't they batting? Even some low A balls, sometimes the pitches bat.
I agree with you. Strategically, it makes it more of an interesting game. But to a fan, to your more casual fan, I can understand getting rid of it because you want hits. You want the pitch is usually automatic out.
But it never was that way. It wasn't that way. I mean, you got to think back to even the pitches of the Braves back in the 90s. Those guys, right? Remember they did that commercial, chicks dig the long ball. They were watching McGuire hit home runs out of the park, and like Maddox and
yes, you sent that to me. You sent that that to me. Yeah,
and they're sitting there watching this. The whole commercial is them working out to try to learn how to hit a home run. Just like it's like chicks dig the long ball. There's no excuse because you get the guy who's playing for the Angels who pitches one day and then go plays. He's the DH the rest of the days. On Teagle on you know what I mean? So
that's true.
You don't have a long career that way, but
I will say though, I was looking at batting averages today, and remember how we were talking about how it seemed like MLB might be juicing the ball a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, or maybe they were like, "Oh shit, we got to do something." Because I'm looking at like the league leader in batting average was Trey Turner with 328. That's it.
Well, did you notice last night during the game they were showing the MLB average for batting average underneath everyone's statistics, and it said it was the average for the MLB was 100.
I don't see that anywhere.
So if you look, last night during the game, every time a batter would come up, they would flash their stats, right? And then there would be this little red box underneath there, and it said MLB average, and it was 100. And I go, all right, well, are they fishing for guys that maybe had one at bat? Like, what's the minimum at bats to get that average? And are they just trying to knock that number down so it doesn't look so outrageous and kind of like, finagle the numbers a little bit? Because 100 seems very low for an average. Granted, there's like 35 people on each team. Probably because over the course of the year, maybe each team had 45 different players play times 32. But still, that seems very low.
I'm just looking at the league leaders, and I'll say none of the obviously the league leaders have to have a certain amount of bats to qualify, and all of them have more than 450 at bats, right?
Yeah.
And with the league leader, 595 at bats, and he batted 328. The number 10 was Adam Frazier. He had 577 at bats and batted 305. So. Yeah, that's kind of low. Like I remember, like people like Edgar Martinez hitting like 350 and leading the league. 328.
It's low too, but then when you think back to Ted Williams, still has the single season record at 421, and that was back in 1947, and no one has beaten that record. So that means 40% of the time you go up to bat, you hit the ball, which most people would be like, "That's it." But like in reality, it's like, you figure what's the average of getting? We get one hit a game, you're up 3 times, so that's 33%. That kind of makes sense,
Yeah, you have in terms of home runs, you have your top 5 players had 40 or more. Your top 5 home run leaders from 40. Your Vladimir Guerrero Jr. had 48. He was the league leader.
Okay.
And your number 5 guy had 42, Fernando Tatis.
What did Devis have this year? He was up there, right? He was probably in the
30s. 38.
38, yeah. So, I mean, Glad Jr. topped 48. That's kind of low when you considered. If you want to use the argument that juicing the ball, that's super low because you figure the years they were juicing the ball with McGuire and what Bonds get 72.
Yeah.
And McGuire and Souza had in the 50s. I think they hit 59. I think that was the back and forth back in the early 90s, late 90s. But
actually, it might be that they were juicing a ball in favor of the pitchers because I'm reading now. Corbin Burns and Josh Hader combined for the record-breaking ninth no-hitter of 2021.
Oh.
There were more no-hitters thrown in 2021 than any other MLB season. So maybe they were helping the pitchers this year.
But they made that big deal in the first couple months about docking the ball. So was that all like a smoke show to try to make you think that they're checking the pitches for the ball? But because the only way you're going to have that many no-hitters, the pitchers are doing something with the ball. Because the ball going over the plate isn't going to change unless you do something physically to the ball to make it not be able to travel in the way it wants to. You know what I mean? And I was watching a lot of movement in last night's game. Those balls were moving like crazy. There was a lot of ball movement. And not just from me getting excited that the Red Sox win, but there was ball movement over the plate. I mean, of all these sinker and slider in curveball were just ridiculous. That ball was just drifting from one side to the other side. And maybe the guy was just having a really, really good day and he was just pitching out of his mind. If that's the case, holy shit, watch out. The Red Sox might have to get something going on there, but I don't know.
Little random fact for you. I didn't know this until a week ago. Did you know there is baseball for blind people? I'm not joking. It is called beep baseball.
Okay.
Right? I learned this because I was watching the Sopranos prequel movie. Waste of time for anybody out there.
That's what I heard. Yeah, I heard that.
And one of this guy was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to make a difference in the world. I'm coaching blind kids to play baseball." And the guy's like, "You got to be shitting me!" So I got on my phone and I looked it up, and it fucking exists. It is called beep baseball. How does it work? The ball has this speaker in it, and it emits a sound. Beep beep. So when you throw it, the sound gets closer, and you have to judge when to swing the ball. And it doesn't have 4 bases. It has I forget how many bases it has. It has fewer than 4. But it exists.
So are the people in the field blind as well?
Everybody, yeah.
So how do they know? They hear the beep coming towards them. That's how they know how to field the ball.
Yeah.
Okay, so
or at least think about it.
So what? So where they know where to throw the ball to get the out? That's
a good question.
Because one could get disoriented very easily.
Well, the bases beep too.
Oh God.
There's something in the base yeah. Look it up when you're.
So
when you're
I'm sure there's YouTube videos of this. So what happens if there's a dumpster being emptied while the game's going on and you hear a beeping from afar, from a truck?
Oh, I lost you for a second.
That'd really screw things up.
That would screw things up.
Dodger Stadium, what a beautiful old stadium. It's kind of a dump, but it's also beautiful at the same time. Oh, did you hear another thing about the Yankees were bitching about Fenway Park?
Oh, what now?
I don't know if it was Boone or someone after the pregame was saying, well, that team really got to update their park. They can't be playing in a park that's over 100 years old. The dimensions, they were complaining about the Green Monster as it was built last year. How the Green Monster, it's unfair. It's unfair. There should be a standard dimension. And they were basically blaming, but so it's funny the sports radio was talking about today, but then they went back and said that the home run that Bucky Dent hit in 1978 when they went off to win the World Series would have been a fly out at Yankee Stadium in most stadiums at that time. So they weren't complaining about the wall in 78 when they wrapped that ball around there. I think they were just digging for excuses and stuff like this.
Yeah, they definitely. That doesn't sound like a manager. It sounds like something a young.
No, yeah, maybe it was a player or one of the bench. But that's the unique thing about baseball is you can make the ballpark any way you want it to pretty much help your team. Because you got to remember you're playing there for half the games, but other teams are going in there and playing too. So you can make an advantage for yourself, but you also got to worry about other teams. And the only reason that wall is 45 feet tall is because it's less than 300 feet to the freaking wall. It's 275 to freaking the Green Monster, someone on the left field line?
Yeah, I think what it says on there is bullshit.
Yeah, it is bullshit. It's way shorter. Way shorter. Yeah.
And I will say the Yankees right field at their stadium pretty much caters to left-hand hitting.
Correct.
From
And that's why they
remember.
designed that way. And they designed that it's basically a complete footprint of their old stadium. And that's why they liked it, because they helped those players wrap that ball. In fact, the bullpens at Fenway Park were done because of Ted Williams. They used to have the bullpens on the sidelines, and then they actually built the bullpens out to bring the right field wall further in so Ted Williams could hit more home runs. And statistically, if you look at it, they did that in like the mid 40s. Ted Williams was also banging an extra 10 home runs a year. So
I will say I do think it's bullshit that he hit that seat. I think it's fucking bullshit. Even David Ortiz thinks it's bullshit. David Ortiz. Yeah, David Ortiz said he even tried it with like a corked bat during batting practice once. He couldn't fucking do it. And I am surprised though. The one thing about Fenway Park that always surprised me is, you know where the retired numbers are? That just seems like a spot that would be. I don't understand why more. I have never seen a home run hit off that. Really, why? It just seems like a kind of spot where a left-handed hitter would go crazy.
I think maybe once or twice it hits the numbers, but like you really have to. You got to get it high and you got to wrap it so it like. Because like last night, the one Bogarts hit was right down the alleyway between the bleachers and the grandstand. It literally went down the hallway. And that's about as close as you're going to get without that thing wrapping. I mean, you're really going to wrap that ball to be able to hit that, because you got to remember, if you look at it from home plate, only like 2 numbers are really in fair territory, right? Because the way it kind of angles off a little bit. So if you get enough curve, you could probably smack it off there. I mean, enough foul balls go in that direction, but.
Am I right though? It just looks so obtainable.
It should be easier. Yeah, and that I agree. If that Ted Williams home run's bullshit, because I mean that's like 500 feet.
Yeah, and, red seat. Maybe on a bounce it hit there.
Yeah, 500 feet, and from it's almost like Ted Williams would have to be turned 45 degrees at the plate in order to hit that ball dead on, in order for it to travel, because it's basically like the second to last section in the bleachers, right? Which is basically looking straight on from the foul line for 30 feet to the left, right? So in order to hit that ball perfectly like that, you would even have to, your timing was just right to hit the ball. But when you're doing that, your bat's so far back, you're not getting the full velocity of the ball. So I'm thinking it does physically, it's no one's have done it before.
Yeah.
And it's much stronger. I mean, granted, McGuire hit the ball into the Mass Pike during the All-Star game in 99, right? It was like 550 feet or whatever it was, but it's the All-Star game. You're getting those balls. I want to personally believe are tampered with for the All-Star game for more dramatic nature, right? These aren't the regular balls you're playing with. These are, docked balls.
I found Ortiz's quote. That red seat, I've been hitting bombs for years and I haven't come close. No disrespect to Mr. Ted Williams, was a great hitter. But as far as being strong, I don't know if he was stronger than me and former Red Sox first baseman Mo Vaughn. That red seat is unhuman.
I mean, you've been there. You've seen the park. That seat's halfway up the bleachers.
Yeah. He's even said, I go with an aluminum bat. I'm not even close to it. Ortiz told Sarah. When players come to Fenway, they say, what is that red seat all about? I tell them, they say, Mr. Ted Williams hit a ball out there. And they're like, yeah, right. Players, power hitters, guys who hit bombs, they say there's no way you can barely see it from the second base.
I know. It's that's I think it's like 28 rows up in the bleachers above the bullpen.
Section 42, row 37, seat 21.
Row 37, even worse. Okay, yeah. And row 37, and I think there's maybe like 52 rows in that section. So you're saying that it's more than halfway up. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But not as people on bullshit.
It's a good story.
Bringing our guest.
Oh.
Joining us now from New York City, I believe, will be Jessica.
Yes.
Brodkin.
From New York.
Oh, yes.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
How you doing?
Good. Thank you for joining us tonight. Are you, in fact, in New York City?
Yes. I'm sorry. I was just so taken by your accent. I'm like, who am I talking to? Am I on Good Will Hunting?
Bunch of Bostonian assholes.
Are you a native New Yorker? Or are you?
I am a native New Yorker. Yeah.
So did last night's Yankees game hurt you a little bit, or? I mean,
I have a vagina and I like crystals, so I don't watch games.
That's right. You're
yes, that's
what I'm saying. I'm just like these things. I want to connect with you, but I also just want to keep it real. You know what I'm saying?
I feel
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, we just talked. We were just very excited about that Red Sox.
You were very exciting. So you guys won the Yankee. You guys won a game. Yes.
If we just beat the Yankees and then we lose the rest of the games, the rest of the playoffs, that was satisfying to us. So.
Well, I mean, I totally get it. The Yankees just buy whatever players they want, right? Isn't that their famous go-to move?
That's their MO usually, yes, but
right, and then everyone hates them.
Correct. Yeah.
Like for just buying instead of actually cultivating players, right?
It's true.
Oh, look, I know something. I'm not just full of crystals.
No, that was good. That was perfect.
Yeah, welcome to the fire. By the way, I'm Adam. It's Arty.
Oh, yes, by the way, yes.
But Jessica, I gotta say, like, I was reading through your bio here, and I'm like, whoa, look at all this fucking cool shit right here, right? We got CIA. Why did you? I'm like seeing CIA analyst, Reiki healer. So we got some energy stuff going on here. We got MIT graduate. Why? Why are you still involved in any of that, or did you abandon it all for comedy?
Which part?
Let's go everywhere. I know you're a Reiki healer still.
I'm a Reiki healer still. For now. Yeah.
I'm an empath, so I am.
You're an empath? Are you a highly sensitive person?
Extremely. I can sense people's energy.
Who is this? What is? All right, now I'm lost.
So yeah, sorry, this is not.
This is great. We have to talk about baseball again to get you back on board.
I'm just standing into the sky. I'm
but the whole former CIA analyst thing is pretty interesting.
No, I mean, you can't like be halfway CIA. You can't like just be CIA on the weekends. You got to be all in or all out.
That's true.
I mean, I know it's like there's so many like movies, and it's like everyone thinks that you mention CIA and people either think you murder babies or like you're like a sexy murderer. So there's murder involved in any case. And just like, yeah, I'm just doing comedy after my set. Let me go like destroy the Taliban and then I'll come back, you know?
It would be great if you're doing like a undercover at a comedy club. Then you just fit in perfectly. But yeah, we have.
Oh yeah, nobody. They're like, oh, she's literate. She's literate. That's amazing. Like,
I heard that there'd be a Russian spy working in the Lower Manhattan comedy clubs. We need you to infiltrate them and get all their information.
Yeah, I am outed though. I mean, you guys are comics. You know, comedians have no benefit to society except making people laugh. Like we don't like.
Yeah, that's about it. Then they throw us.
I mean, am I wrong?
I am happily not a comic. I know a lot of people in the scene, but I am happily not a comic because I feel like they're all backstabbing little bitches and like to just whine and complain about how people are stealing jokes and like to just be like, you're my friend. I want to get I want to get better than him. Like they're all just, I'm the comedy scene. I feel like is just not, I love it. I like to know people.
You were a comic?
No.
You were never a comic.
I do.
Never was.
Yeah. No. He's just the guy we know who hangs off the comics.
The guy.
He gives us input. Tells us how bad we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that. I was like, you have to be a comic. Otherwise, why are you doing this to yourself? You know what I mean?
Why are you podcasting?
Why are you podcasting? For the love of the game? Are you crazy?
I like meeting new people.
We do this night. Yeah, no, we God, how long have we been doing this for? Me and him have been doing it for almost 10 years together, off and on. And then I've been doing it for like 20 years.
No, I mean a lot of good people.
You've been doing this for 20 years. Was the internet still around 20 years? No, I mean like.
Dude, you go way back.
No, so like college, right? Online radio, like.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'm like, there was no podcasting 20 years ago.
So I was across the river in Wentworth, so we had an online radio station that only broadcast to the basically the internal part of the college. So maybe five people would log on and listen. But I was smart enough to save all my episodes on remember those DVD players where you could stick in there and you could record shit like on a DVD. It was very high tech before all that digital stuff. And I had saved it all. And then podcast came out around like 2006, 2007-ish. I remember people, that was the big crave, but no one really was doing it.
They were on iTunes too, weren't they?
Yeah, iTunes. I had a buddy of mine was like, hey, he's like, you should just load up your shows on iTunes. And I was like, what does that mean? I mean, he's like, no, that thing you have, like that like iPod. And I was like, yeah. He's like, you can listen to shows on it. And I was like, he's like talking like a wizard to me. I was like, wow, this is like anytime I want.
I can't get over the way you talk. I cannot. I love it so much. It makes me crazy. It's like I'm losing my mind. It's like exploding.
Overload.
A wizard to me. Like I'm like, oh my God, just melting.
I'm jealous of your hair. Your hair looks like too good right now to be on a podcast for this.
Oh, really? You know,
Your hair looks really nice.
I got my ring light. I brought it, gentlemen. I wore makeup. I wore makeups for the first time in a long time. I have this fucking fancy shit. I was like, all right, let's fucking, my nails are busted, but I can't give you everything, but I tried.
You look like you should be doing weather for 10-10 wins. Like over here.
Yeah.
Get that flowing hair. You know what it is?
Like, they generally like weather for 10-10 wins. I love that's a very high compliment.
I know in New York. Every time back in the day before satellite radio, when I drive to New York, I'll tune into 10-10 wins. Weather and traffic on the 10s.
That's right. It's great.
Yeah, but,
I was like, 10-10 wins.
But just to be clear, Jessica, I do love comedy and like the people involved. The community part of it just reminds me of middle school. That's all.
You know, is it a Boston comedy thing? I've come to Boston a few times and I loved it.
Well, here's the thing in Boston. So basically, if you like, and Adam's been exposed to some of like the low grade open mics that I've dragged him to in the past, you know, some of the.
Okay.
So when you get to the bottom of the barrel stuff, like I used to do back in the day with other people, you get those people. I remember, you know, and then like once you get into a little bit more of an advance, it's almost like anything else, right? Like a video game. Once you get rid of like get into the more of the moderate to, you know, like I kind of know what I'm doing, intermediate level, I guess you could say. Get rid of some of that garbage, but yeah, there's a lot of
garbage.
Garbage guy.
We had some shitty people on the show before that fucking would just like come on and like they would just be blowing up other people's spots and they'd be talking shit about us when they got off to like someone else's show. Like,
who raised these people?
I said, like,
exactly.
Who raised them? I feel like as a sensitive person, there's a way to really kind of like adjust what realities you experience. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I work in this field of like adjusting the reality that people experience.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe, hopefully.
It doesn't bother me. It's just more of an observation. That's just the way it is.
Right, but that's like not the experience that I have in comedy at all.
Which is good. Which is
great. Yeah, I have like my best friends are comics. I love comics. I mean, there are places and shows and people who I stay away from because I think their energy's weird and I don't like them as humans, you know. But then like also producing your own and like producing your own shows, you get to kind of control the room. Just like on your podcast, you kind of control it, right?
Yeah, and when I used to run shows, that was basically it. I would, you know, vent out a lot of people before you kind of figure out who you're gonna get. Like, especially because a lot of times I was doing shows at like bars and restaurants that were like, I call them ambush shows. Like
we call them ambush shows. Yeah, of course. Take
the audience hostage. They don't even know a comedy show's going. They're just staying at the hotel because they're flying to Fort Lauderdale tomorrow, and all of a sudden a comedy show pops up, and it's just like, oh, so there's a fine art between that because you're gonna make sure that you can entertain the people, but you don't, you know, make them hate life and want to leave. You know what I mean? Like some guys talk. Yeah.
We don't. I did ambush shows in DC because I started in DC.
Oh, okay.
So I was friends with Emily Raskowski, and I was in DC comedy for 5 years before. When I was at the CIA, I did comedy at night.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Whereabouts in DC? I lived in DC for a year.
You did?
Well, in the burbs in Silver Spring, but I was working in.
I know Silver Spring, of course. I lived all over. I lived DC, Maryland, Virginia. It was 11 years of my life, so it was a long time. But yeah, that's where
like
I started.
It down there? The MDV, as they call it.
Oh, the DMV.
A DMV, that's it.
Yeah. I wish they called it something other than DMV because nobody wants to go to the DMV.
No one does. Yeah.
Oh,
no, it's terrible.
My experience was like terrible living there.
You hated it. You hated it.
I couldn't say I didn't hate it. I just coming from Boston and going down there because like in Boston, people are from Boston, but you go down to like DC, no one's from DC, right? So it's like everyone's like from all around the friggin' country. And it's just like I didn't feel like the neighborhood vibe that you do, which you probably feel in New York. You get the neighborhoods, you get to feel that doesn't exist in DC whatsoever. It's just kind of wide open.
You know, gentrification was a big problem in DC.
Yeah.
When I was there. Like it got gentrified. I couldn't afford to live there. I had to like bust out to the boonies.
Right. Yeah.
But no, I'm a native New Yorker and I do live in a very neighborhoody part.
Okay.
But that was like my choice, you know?
Yeah. That's why I think a lot of people prefer that too. I think that's why you go to these cities like that, like Boston, New York. There's the neighborhoods because you can kind of separate yourself from the rest of the big picture. You know what I mean? Kind of.
I think people come to New York to like make it in whatever their field is. And I
Yeah.
think that there's a pulse to New York City.
Mhm.
There's like an energy that runs through it that gets people. Do you know what I don't know.
No,
I think
yeah, I get it. How do you feel about the state of New York right now? It's kind of scary, isn't it? Or is it as bad as it looks on TV and we're just kind of
how
seeing?
does it look on TV? What is the state of New York that you see?
So my perspective of New York from everything I'm reading is like there's homeless people hanging out every corner. The drug is
Yes.
crazy. The crime's
Yeah.
crazy. There's no control of the city. People are either locked in, don't want to go out. I mean, they really make it look like it's like, going into a third world country.
It's a lot better than it was.
Okay.
In the early part of the pandemic, it was bad.
Yeah.
And through the middle. And I went back to work last July before vaccines. So a lot of my comedy friends, they just stayed on unemployment the whole time until it ran out. And then they're like, all right, I need to look for a job.
Yeah.
But it's not that bad. There's a lot of homeless. It's not good.
Yeah.
And there's also like, even if I give money to homeless people, it doesn't like solve their problem. It doesn't solve the homelessness issue.
No, it just gives them a fix for the whatever.
Gives them a fix or food or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So it does feel a little helpless that there's not.
Because
But I mean, we'll have a new mayor soon.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I love New York City. I mean, going for living in Boston, your 4-hour bus ride for $15 into the city. You could literally, we used to go for the day. We used to literally take the, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning bus to New York, go see like a Mets or a Yankees game at 1 o'clock, and then spend the rest of the afternoon there, and then take like the 8, 9 o'clock bus back to Boston. And like, so you don't get a hotel. You don't have to worry about the money there. You go and hang out and have a good time. You go bounce around the bars and stuff like that. And then you go home. It was great. It was 4 hours away. I mean, I did it probably countless times when I was in college because it was just, spur of the moment stuff. And like,
I did it constantly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. And, we even did comedy. We used to go down there and just do a couple sets and then come back, like hit a couple open mics and come back to Boston, so.
Oh, you started comedy a long time ago.
Oh, probably, I don't know, college was what, 2000, probably 2007, 2006, probably ish.
2007, 2006. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Off and on. Yeah. But I mean, nothing too serious. I didn't take it to the.
Yeah, we gotta get you back on the stage, Arty. We do. We gotta get you back out.
Really get back on. It's so tough.
Yeah.
I'll be your cheerleader, bro. We gotta get you out there, man.
Well, when I was running the rooms, it was fun, because then I can kind of like pick and choose. We had a lot. I live in the North Shore of Boston, so we have a lot of like.
You do? Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah, so we have a lot of guys up here, who are like North Shores,
You went to MIT, so what's your experience out here? You've been in
So did you do any comedy when you were in Boston, like when you lived?
I did improv when I went to MIT.
Improv Asylum.
What, in Cambridge?
No, not Improv Asylum. I just did improv comedy at MIT. I was on the road.
Okay.
I was an improv troupe.
Cool.
And I feel like, and I did some improv when I came to DC in like my mid-20s.
Yeah.
But improv, I feel like I learned the most about myself and how to live through improv. I think that if I were to recommend that, I would recommend like a random person, like what's one of the best education you can have? I think improv comedy. Nobody says that.
No, but I agree because I took like 5-6 classes at Improv Boston in Central.
Oh, that's great.
And that's how I was doing like the stand up, but I couldn't really fine tune anything. And I started doing improv because I wanted to get my timing correct. Mm-hmm. So I drinking before sets and I started getting my timing better. And then like playing off other people and being able to play off the crowd and try to like work a crowd kind of thing.
Sure.
And that's like I said, improv is pretty cool because I got to meet a lot of cool people and you do these little groups and stuff and you kind of just going, but like long-term wise, it wasn't really for me, but it was more of like an experience, I guess you could say.
The thing that I love about improv so much is that improv teaches you to listen to other people.
Mm-hmm.
And it teaches you to be in the moment and it teaches you to respond from an authentic place and to trust that the funny is naturally there and it will arrive.
Yeah.
And that those are such important life lessons because we don't really learn to listen to each other. We don't really learn to be present in the moment and to just experience and to be there with others. And those are like massive life lessons on just how to function as a human in society.
That's very true. I think a lot of us are just waiting for our turn to talk and not just necessarily listening to what people are saying to take it in and digest it. That's huge.
Right. And then to respond from an authentic place.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And that's where the magic lies. So I think that those lessons from comedy, from improv, were really, really profound.
And also with improv too, it's like you have to listen because you have to make sure you're going to be able to, because you're dependent on the other person to save you if you say or continue the joke, I guess, or the skit. It's kind of nerve-wracking sometimes because you get put on the spot and you're like, all right, well, I got to make sure I take in everything, and your brain has to work faster, right? And you have to try to figure things out, and you have to kind of like push the boat in the right direction. Otherwise, it's gonna,
I feel like improv is about surrender.
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a big element of surrender, and it's not just it's listening, but also acceptance. Because you could you could hear what your partner or scene partner would say, but not accept it and be like, he's like, okay, I'm in a pharmacy, and you're like, you know what, I'm in a deli, and it's like, well, what the fuck are you doing?
Yes, and that's what they tell you.
Yes, and right.
Yes, I'm in a pharmacy and I'm buying myself some laxative. I had a rough night last night. How was your? Throw the ball. We did, that was that improv 101 when you throw the ball at each other. You passing the ball.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. No, it's extremely pure too, because you're exposing this is sort of a vulnerability there, because you're exposing yourself to people in a way that's like, you're throwing this out there to the world to see how they're going to respond to it. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, but you're just going to give it a shot. Yeah.
So you're in Boston. So you're in Cambridge at MIT. And
yes.
And what was your major there?
This is really embarrassing. My major was political science.
Okay.
Which I feel like is like major, like going to the Olympics for Sudoku. You know what I mean? Like it's really embarrassing. But I started in material science. I still had to take a lot of science courses. Yeah. And my family's all engineers. They're like all engineers and doctors. Like 3 out of my 4 grandparents were engineers.
Oh, wow.
And I'm first generation. They're all Russian. Or they're from Russia, but they're like Russian, Jewish, and Persian. There's like a lot going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is a muttness cluster in there, right?
Cluster.
Well, they were probably all like ecstatic that you went to MIT.
They lost their shit, right. and then I went to CIA, and they're like, "What are you doing?" They were like, "You're not making, I majored in political science. They were like, "You're never going to get a job." Yeah. And I'm like, "Watch me slay." And I watched me slay. And then I got into the CIA, and then my grandfather was like, "They never let Jews into KGB." They never let Jews into KGB. We're so proud of you. They don't.
Not like my grandmother. My grandmother's half Russian, half German. So they.
Right. Drink vodka.
But how did you decide CIA? What happened? Like you're just sitting there, like you watch like NCIS, and you're like,
or some guy walk up to you and was like, "Hey,"
and I was like, "Hey,"
or you were a spy for the KGB. Maybe that's.
KGB is spy. I mean, it would be so bad because I'm so public. Like all my stuff is out there. You know what I mean?
Maybe it's all a decoy. Yeah, that'd be perfect cover. It's all a decoy. It's so obvious that
you get information from us right now. We have no idea.
I worked in a bunch of labs given the CIA. I worked in a genetics lab, I worked in a material science lab, and I was bored out of my mind. I was like, you know what, fuck this. Science shit is so slow. It's so annoying. I'm just playing with genetic material. Everything's like radioactive. I'm like, I'm risking my life for what the fuck am I doing, right? I was a teenager, and then I was like, let me change the world. And I was like, and then I don't know what I was thinking. I was like FBI or CIA. I wanted to study human trafficking or weapons of mass destruction. Oh, wow. FBI wanted me to be an agent. And I was like, anyone who meets me and thinks I should be handling weapons is not an organization I trust. You know what I'm saying?
It's like calling you Scully from the X-Files.
Yeah. It's like, it's just not a fit. And so CIA was hiring after 9/11.
Yeah.
I joined in 2003, right after graduation. I got recruited out of there. But most CIA people don't want to work for the government because they make shit for money, as opposed to working in tech where you just make it rain. And I was just such a delusional, not financially motivated person at the time. Now I'm stacking paper, but at the time I was like, I just want to make the world a better place. I don't know how I chose CIA to make the world a better place, because I was looking at World Bank. It's just insane. It's like, let me join the mafia and make the streets safer. It's like,
well, my relatives did. They protect the North End. You know?
That's right.
So how does one apply for the CIA? Is there like an application you fill out, or is like
There is. You can go online and fill it out.
really?
Doing it right now. I'm on
I
it.
always wanted like. No, because when I was younger, I was fascinated by working for the FBI. I don't know what got me. Like, I always thought like that'd be a cool job. And then like I'd watch like My Blue Heaven, and I realized it was just a bunch of pencil pushes. I'm like, oh, I don't want to be like an office agent. I want to be like out there.
No, they have field agents.
Yeah,
FBI has field
that's what I
agents.
wanted to be. And I'm like, I just love motivation and became an architect. It was a lot easier that way. But
You're an architect.
I have an architecture degree.
Okay.
But I
I mean, I have an economics degree. I don't do shit with it.
There you go. So I'm more in the engineering field with my homeboy to the left of me. We work in the same office.
You do?
Yes, we do. We see each other every day.
Every day.
I see him more than he sees his own wife.
That's right.
Yeah.
It does.
I was gonna say this is your work husband.
It is.
Pretty
My
much, it is.
We go to lunch
Yeah.
together. You know,
Yeah, we're hetero life mates. Yeah.
You know, I love it. I feel like we need to normalize this for men.
It's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah.
absolutely.
Right? It's great. We need more. Like, I feel like a lot of dudes need more friends. I'm glad you guys have each other. It's really
No, it's really true. As I got older, I didn't realize that. Like, I feel like girls, it's like I give you guys credit in the sense that when something's wrong, you guys kind of rally. It's like, let's go out and let's have some drinks. Guys, we don't have like as many friends as females.
So every year we do this group thing, right? Where we go and try to go see a Patriots game on the road, and it's like 6 of us, and it's been harder and harder each year to get everyone on board. Like, just because of like scheduling and
adulting, people have kids, family. It just happens.
And I'm the one who has the kid and the wife. That should be the hardest for me to get the time off. But like my wife comes with me, so we organize it, right? So we pick a game, we go, and like to grab the single guys to go with us is more. You think that would be the easy thing to do? Like you go like the single guys, guys are always on board, ready to go, but they always have like a root canal or like they're fucking getting their ass.
Root canal.
They're getting their assholes bleached. Anal bleaching.
Sorry, I can't go to the Pats game that weekend. I'm getting my asshole bleached. Like,
yeah.
Turn online.
Yeah, I need to put it on Tinder.
Mm-hmm. But no, it's true though. Like I think I do think that guys will not have, but I don't know. Is it an age thing? When you get older, you just don't have you don't stay in touch. I mean, it should be easy these days.
I think that's socially, like women naturally, and we're sort of socialized to be in groups and sit circles sort of with each other. Mm-hmm. And I think men naturally were before, but nowadays, or I don't know if nowadays, but this is the whole idea of masculinity and how the concepts of masculinity can be harmful.
Yeah.
There are negative aspects of it that actually harm dudes. I don't need emotional support. I'll handle it on my own. I'll just grab a drink, slap someone on the back instead of like talking about their feelings. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like it's most guys anyways, though, for the most part.
But I do think it's important that we all need to like socialize. I know if I have a problem, like I'm gonna fucking talk to somebody, a friend of mine or something, because just keeping it all in and no good's gonna come from that.
I mean, you're an empath and you have Whirlwind Potato and behind you with the Blockbuster background. Is that what's going on?
That's very true.
Blockbuster, yeah. People know only Blockbuster.
Would you like to rent a video today?
I would love to walk into a Blockbuster again. They have an Airbnb that's a Blockbuster.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they charge a lot. I would pay for that just for the experience of being a child, because I just would go with my dad and pick out a movie.
Right?
I miss that smell. I miss like that popcorn carpet garbage smell.
You remember when new releases came out, like on Fridays, you'd go there and they would have like 100 of like the videos tapes on there, but none of them would be available because someone came in there and cleaned them all out. You'd just be sitting there all bumped out. Like, man, I really want to see Independence Day. Like, I can't get the VHS.
I don't miss that, but I do miss that. That feeling was horrible when the movie you wanted wasn't there. But I will say, just as gratifyingly awesome was that feeling when you saw like 3 left of the one you wanted.
Yeah, that feeling.
You called up and you're like, "Hey, can you hold that for me, please? I'll be there like in 5 minutes."
It felt like amazing. It was like Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory. You got the golden ticket. It felt like fucking amazing.
Really, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Adam actually does a skit on his Whirlwind Potato YouTube page where he's a guy who works at Blockbuster.
Yeah, I play a creepy Blockbuster guy.
Blockbuster guy.
That sounds amazing. I have to watch this immediately.
The only Blockbuster around, other than the area you spoke of, is the actual working Blockbuster in Bend, Oregon, right? Is that what we figured out?
I believe it is, my
There's
friend.
only one left in the country where you can actually rent videos from.
It is in.
I thought it was gone. I thought it was completely gone.
There's one left.
Yeah, in Oregon. Just if you're out in the West Coast, you gotta pop in there. It's I think it's like literally halfway between. It's the middle of the state.
Yes, my friend, you are right. Bend, Oregon.
Bend, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so and you can actually still go and get your membership card, and you can still do the whole, yeah. I would imagine late fees are a little extreme, because if you're renting a video and then you're going back to the East Coast, you're probably gonna have to pay a little bit of a fee. So,
I think I would just want to go in and just walk around.
no,
Just
it's funny,
that nostalgia,
right? And just see, I think it's hilarious that kids these days will never know what Be Kind Rewind means.
No shit, right?
There's so many things that they don't know. We were just talking about it with my coworkers, who are my acupuncture coworker, and like kids didn't like they don't know life without social media.
Right? Yeah.
And we don't fully understand how much it, especially with like the new Facebook whistleblower, how much it really mentally damages people, especially girls, like Instagram.
Oh, for sure. But you get to figure too. Remember, we're probably all around the same age. And then MySpace was the big thing that came out when we're, in the early 2000s. And for us, that was kind of like, all right, you post a picture, you had a cool little background, you play some music, and you had your top 8 friends. Ooh, who's gonna be my top 8 friends today? You know what I mean? It'd be like your girlfriend at the time and one of your buddies, and then you'd alternate the 7 and 8 out and in and out depending on who the situation was. And then you have a little profile and a blurb, and then you probably have a GeoCities website where you have the link there and you send it there, right? And it's just like, yeah, this is all about. And like Facebook was like, I remember when everyone was like college only, right? You only could be in college to be able to get it. And then it was like, all right, it was like a bunch of college people. And when I was in college, I used it to connect with some of my high school friends, and we just kind of like kept it like little groups where we can kind of like. Now the only reason I use Facebook is so my 90-year-old grandmother in Florida could see pictures of my kids.
How old's your baby?
He's almost 2. Yeah. So, but if I didn't need Facebook for, I guess you could not need, but like use it to show pictures of the kids so relatives can see it. I really have no need for it anymore, because I was picking up chicks back in 2005 and 2006 on it. And that was my thing. I would message them and try to like set up dates. And
you would slide into DMs before it was a thing.
Big time. I was
You were sliding into Facebook DMs.
I was pioneering it, and at the time I was doing it, I was super creepy, and now it's just like norm. You know what I mean? It's just like it's the regular.
Oh, everyone does it. I slide into DMs. I'm not gonna pretend like I didn't like recently.
Yeah. It's like I remember doing it, and people would be like, "This is creepy. You're meeting someone online." Be like, well, yeah, like this is easy. I don't got to do anything. You know what I mean? I just sit here and I'm just going through and stuff like this. And now it's just like all the kids have it. Like there's young kids that have it, and they just post everything about them. Shit that they're posting that shouldn't, that kids should keep to themselves. So I don't know. I just think it's a little too overexposure.
I think it's more damaging, I think, for women too, in the sense that, like, okay, I remember back in the 90s, it was like people would get on about magazines, and it's like it's creating this false narrative. This is how a woman should look. Look at this magazine and this girl.
Right, that's right.
And they never would have thought what would happen decades later with the explosion of the internet, because it is not just in magazines. Magazines don't barely exist anymore. It is just everywhere you fucking look. Of like, no, that's how you're supposed to look, but that's not how you're
a lot of it's fake.
It's very real.
Impossible. The standards are impossible.
Yeah, they can also too. They can afford, well, besides from airbrushing, they can afford to get, like, a lot of these women can afford to have personal chefs, personal trainer, 24/7. Your average working person can't do that. You know, it's not realistic.
But like BBLs, you know what BBL is? Brazilian butt lift.
Oh yeah, I got one of those.
You got one of those. That's how you scored your wife. You got her pregnant.
I was not happy with my ass. I had to do something with it, you know. The flat ass.
Is that why I've been looking at it at work lately, Arty? I knew you did something.
Walking around the city.
Yeah, like BBLs are really deadly, and they're not like you're talking about personal chefs. BBLs are a couple $1,000s, and you know, girls are going to Miami, and the hotels are packed, and these girls are disfiguring their bodies at like 18. They don't even know. Like my body wasn't done at 18. My hips, you know, all my business filled in later.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's way too early. And the pressure. You don't know what you want. I mean, I still look like a little kid when I was 18 years old. You know, I mean, it wasn't until I was like in my mid 20s where I started looking like a guy. You know, not like a teenager. But like, yeah, so you get all that pressure. I mean, even I'll look at some buff guys' Instagram and be like, how do I get that? And I'm sitting in the gym at the Planet Fitness using the machine. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting there, chipping away at this, little by little. But it's like, I'm not an 18-year-old kid who's like self-conscious about their body and probably, maybe gets picked on or something like that. And now I feel really, really bad about something. And I don't know how I would have reacted back then if that was the situation. Because Adam and I were late bloomers. We didn't really fall into our place until we were like in our 20s. And it was like, but like, it's kind of scary to think about it. When you think about it, it was like, well, if I was 16 years old and someone was like throwing this stuff in my face, how would I react? Probably negatively. It probably wouldn't have been a positive thing,
Right.
When Facebook went down the other day, I was kind of hoping that it just like, it was like
I was hoping it would be gone forever.
That's what I thought too.
I was like, it's time. And just like,
I go, someone pulled the plug. I go, this would be the greatest thing ever. I go, I could just start taking pictures and mailing them to my grandmother every month. She'll get like
Does she have an iPhone? Does she have a smartphone?
Yes, but she doesn't know how to get pictures on. Like I'll send the pictures, but she doesn't know how to like open them. Like it's very. I told my father just to get her an iPhone so it's easier. Then we can have like my mother-in-law has an iPhone with a group album with a link, and she clicks on it and she sees the pictures anytime she wants. It's nice and easy.
You need to get her an iPhone.
I know.
Start a GoFundMe.
You could open up a whole realm of bullshit with that. Teaching old people technology can be scary. Like my mom now, sometimes she'll just text in all emojis, and I'm like, I'm sorry I created this monster, because I'll have to sit there and decode hieroglyphics and try to figure out what the fuck she's saying, and then I'll just call her, Mom, what the fuck are we trying to talk? I have no idea. I don't have time for this.
My grandmother survived Nazi Germany in World War II, but I still got to go down there and program her answer machine for every once in a while.
Answering machine?
You still got an answer machine, yeah, like an old with the tape that goes in there and stuff, and when the electricity goes out, there's an issue sometimes.
Yes. All right, we have bigger problems. Our boss doesn't even know how to find a Gmail account.
How about this? Our boss bought an alarm clock, an analog alarm clock on Amazon because he doesn't want to use his phone for his alarm. I go to him like, who buys alarm clocks these days? He's like, I don't like my phone in my room. And I said to him, I'm like, so what did you buy? You bought this 2-inch by 2-inch alarm clock, like a turn, like you got to put like a 3.
I have them. My dad has them.
Yeah. I will say I do have an alarm clock. I do not like using my phone as an alarm clock because I don't want to be woken up by a text. Right? I actually have the same alarm clock I had since middle school.
Called Do Not Disturb.
Right? Isn't that crazy?
You're both very special.
Yeah.
Short, I need a helmet. I'm short bus.
Well, back in my day, we had the VHS.
No, we got my grandpa an iPhone, and he's 94, and so he knows how to FaceTime, which is a really big deal. But when my grandma died, he became a pimp. Like he had like 3 girlfriends at the same time. He just was boning bitches. He had knee surgery. He had like multiple women come to the hospital to visit him, and nobody gave a fuck. Do you know what I mean? Because when you're that old, there's no men left.
No, it's true. Because when my grandfather died, they lived in this like golf community down in Florida, right? So my grandfather passed away, and then literally my grandma was getting flowers sent to her house like weeks after from all the widowers in the community trying to like move in. Like, all right, this is my opportunity.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then she played it off like, all right, now I can do whatever I want. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, wow.
Did she end up with another dude?
He did, and he ended up dying. So I mean, so it happened. That was 10 years after that. But I mean, you know,
she got 10 years of strange, you know.
Yeah. And she's still 91. She's actually 91. She's turned 91. She's still going to the country club there, and you know, we went down there in March to a visitor, right, during the whole like height of the corona and stuff. And now at that point, pretty much everyone got vaccinated. At that point, everyone was good to go. And I walk into the clubhouse and I pretty much have like a hazmat suit on because I'm afraid to. I don't want to expose any of these poor elderly people to anything. They're all walking around, drinking martinis, dancing on the dance floor, like. And I said, you know what? Good for them, because at least they know it's the latter ends of their life. They're not sitting there, in a cave, counting down the minutes. They're actually enjoying themselves.
Oh, they're doing more than that, Arty. You want to see something really fucked up? Look up the statistics on elderly people and STDs.
Oh yeah,
it's
legit. I want to show you my aunt. I gotta find it. My aunt. I have an aunt.
Your aunt?
Is it weird people don't say aunt?
Aunt.
No, is that a New York way of saying aunt?
Yeah.
What, aunt?
Yeah, you walk your dog now too and get your coffee.
You mean instead of aunt?
Yeah, you say aunt.
How do you say the stuff that you drink in the morning? You get at Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, you say coffee. Do you say coffee?
Coffee.
Yeah, see there, that coffee.
What is that? New York accent.
The dragon.
Coffee. I'm looking for pictures of my aunt.
Like I'm watching Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Yo, this woman is like, she was epic. Okay. Her name is Tanya. I'm gonna get you a photo of her. It was nuts. Where is she?
I want to be that. I want to be like that when I get older. You know what I mean? I want to live my.
She's such a badass. She's just gorgeous, and she's like blinged out.
Yeah.
And when her boyfriend, she's 85. When her boyfriend went to sleep, every dude, old geezer, was trying to dance with her at my cousin's wedding. And then when I saw her for the first time, I was like, "You look amazing," and she said, "Of course." And I'm like,
I bet people were dropping in her DMs.
yo, this woman is a bad bitch. You know what I'm saying? In like every sense of the word.
Well,
that's the way you want to do it, because you know why? When it's at the latter years of your age, who gives a shit at that point, right? Live your best life, have a good time. I got two grandparents who were both lost their spouses, and one, my grandmother in Florida, lived her life, still living her life, having a great time. My grandfather, on the other side, kind of isolated himself, didn't want to have fun anymore. Kind of was like depressed, and it's like
it's not good.
There's so much you can do, and I mean, it's like go out there, have fun. No one says you have to get married and have a girlfriend. You just go out there and just do stuff. Like,
okay, here's my aunt. Can you see her?
Yes.
Oh, okay, wow. Yeah.
Look at this. This is Tanya.
Great time.
Right? Does she not look amazing?
Yeah. Is she 90? We say 91?
85.
85.
Look at this. She is bling the fuck out.
And that's a woman who will live probably to past 100.
She's falling, girl.
Well, you don't miss a day of your life, right? Because I mean, any day when you get to that age, it could be the last day. But
I mean, she like eats a lot of bread when she's at a party so that it can absorb all the vodka she's drinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, perfect.
Smart woman.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I went through my phone, but I was like, I gotta show you a picture.
All right, it's a good way to close out.
That's the way. Hey, good for you. I mean, that's basically how. That's how I want to go out. I mean, I want to go out like I want to be found like past when I die, maybe hopefully like in the 90s, I'd be at a strip club getting a lap dance from like Katrina, the the dancing the girl.
How does your wife feel about this?
Well, I mean, I'm assuming that I outlive her, so I mean, that's the goal.
You're looking forward to outliving your wife?
Not looking forward to it. I'm saying I'm just looking at my plan B. What's going to happen?
It's not going to happen, my friend. They destroy.
She'll probably murder me. Yeah, she did take a life insurance policy out on me, and she offers to cook meals all the time. So I'm a little skeptical that maybe
you're a little scared.
Yeah, could be it.
Yeah.
All right, Jessica, we're moving to the end here. What can we find you? What's your website? How can we?
You can find me at Jessica Brodkin, Brodkin. I've got a bunch of shows in New York coming up. So there's psychic comedy shows. You guys come through NYC, let me know.
Real quick, what's a psychic comedy show? How does that work?
Yeah.
It's great. So we have sets, comics doing comedy sets.
Sets. I thought you said sex. I was like, what the fuck?
I mean, we have sets, but not at the show, unfortunately. That costs way more. Different bracket. So we have and then the audience fills out questions on psychic questions that they have, like, should I break up with my boyfriend or whatever,
Okay.
Am I going to get a new job? Am I going to have a baby? And so then we take it out of a bucket and we answer questions with a bunch of psychics and have like an advice panel. It's actually really fun.
Arty, I'm going to say this. Usually on the show, after the show, when we talk tomorrow morning, we need to have Jessica back because I need to hear more about this.
I want to go see
I'm very interested in hearing more about this.
Yes.
When we have time.
Yeah, I want to go down to New York and check out one of these shows.
I want to hear more about these psychic shows.
Come through, boys.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
No,
this was super fun. I'd love to do this again.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us, and have a good one, and we'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye. Do you stop the recording? No. Do I just leave?
I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna just leave.
Here we go. Have a good day.
She was really cool. I liked her.
Yeah, she was funny.
Yeah.
Psychic comedy. Adam, I'm gonna do some psychic comedy right now. I'm gonna predict it.
I'd pick up on it because I'm an empath.
Have you ever been hypnotized before?
I've been to a couple shows, and one of them I wasn't originally sold on it, but the problem was at my high school graduation, you have a lockdown.
Yeah,
right? I remember there was a lockdown where everybody's locked in the school for 24 hours until like 6 a.m. And there was a hypnotist there. And
is it Santos?
No, it was not Santos. I've been to his show too, though. Yeah. But before that, there was other. Actually, no, it was him. I think he did my high school graduation. And
the old man or the son?
Who?
Probably the old man because it was 20 years ago. Yeah, so yeah.
But like, there's this kid that like went up there, and I know some people they're susceptible and some people aren't. That's how it works. But this kid who never would have went along with it, never in a million years. He did some stuff that he never would have done.
So I was hypnotized.
Yeah.
By Santos, the father. Now the son took over the whole show because I think he died like 10 years ago. And they brought me on stage, and it was at the old Comedy Connection in Finney Hall. And I was with an ex-girlfriend and stuff. It was like a spur of the moment Saturday night thing.
Did you feel like you were dreaming?
So it was weird. It kind of feel like I experience when I'm on an edible.
Yeah, like a dreaming, almost like a little surreal.
Yeah. So like, I don't know if I was just into it, or they convinced me to be into it. Like, I'm a sociable guy anyways, so going on stage wouldn't really matter to me anyways. But they had me mouth fuck a blow-up doll on stage.
Do you remember it?
Yes, but it would be something I'd probably do anyways if someone asked me. So I was probably a bad specimen to do it because I'm like one of those guys like, you know me, like, hey, oh yeah, sure, I'll do it.
Yeah, you like to lie, pant in the crowd a little bit.
But like I remember being in like a fuzz, like it was a blur while I was doing it. Like I remember like knowing when I was doing it, but it felt like I had to do it. Yeah, like I felt like, and I wasn't really drinking. I maybe had a cocktail before the show, and like I remember just like in my mind it was like, you have to do this, you have to do this. And I was like gangbanging a blow-up doll with two other dudes. And we were like moving the blow-up doll around and moving around for positions and stuff. It was very like interesting. It was like, but like in my mind, I was like, yeah, I'm on. I knew I was on stage. I can still visualize it right now. I knew I was on stage. I knew what I was doing. I knew I was with the guys. And like there was a thing where you'd sit there and he would like snap his fingers and people start clocking like a bird. And like I did it like not like thinking about it. I just did it. I did it like walking, right? When he did this, I didn't think, I just did it. And I wonder, and there was some people that went on there that couldn't be hypnotized. And I was skeptical. I was like, all right, these plants that come up here, but then they got me on there. I'm like, well, I'm definitely not a plant. I think it's just a matter of like your intuition goes down a little bit. It's almost like the truth serum you take, right? When they give you that like whatever that fucking chemical is, and they inject you, and you start to spurn the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sodium pentothal.
Yeah, and I feel like it's almost like that. Like your inhibitions go down a little bit, so your guard goes down. So if you're someone whose guard goes down, you do whatever, you're pretty much acceptable. And then you know in the back of your mind, you're thinking it's for the show, right? So it'd be like weird if I didn't do it. So I don't know if I was actually hypnotized or not. But like I know people got hypnotized when they do like cigarettes and stuff like that, like to stop smoking, and it works, I don't know. But that's why I kind of relate the psychic comedy show too, because it's kind of like the same idea, right? She's like they're gonna be predicting stuff, but like they do it in a comedy way, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting.
Oh, we'll have to check it.
More of that some other time for sure.
But once the fucking world gets back to normal, we can travel to New York City without being fucking criminals.
That would be great. We should do that.
Get on a bus and just take it down 4 hours into the city, spend the day, and just come home. Wouldn't that be nice, huh?
We could just drive to Bend, Oregon too. It won't take us 44 hours.
Is that what the
last blockbuster?
44 hours. What is it about?
44 hours, yeah.
Do that in like probably 3 to 4 days, right?
You and me? Oh, I think we could definitely do it on the low.
I got my eyes on an RV that I think I might buy, a Class C, like a small one.
Where are you gonna park it?
That's the problem. I'm measuring. I have my driveway. There's an area that I could park it in the back, but it has to clear the house and the wall. And I don't know if the beam of the RVs is wide enough to fit. If not, I might have to chip away at the wall that's there.
Yeah, that would be tough, buddy.
But like this guy's selling it for like $3,200 on like Facebook Marketplace. Like RVs drop in value so bad because
they're horrible.
People get them. They're like boats. They're boats of the land. People get them. They use them like 5 times, and they just sit in people's yards. And like as long as the engine is good and like the mechanical systems of it works, the cosmetic part of it you can just do yourself. You throw some paint on it, get some new cushions and stuff like this. But I went on Class C, which is a Class C is only like 20 feet long. It's the smaller ones. It's pretty much like its size of a little bit bigger than an ambulance. I would just drive it to work. I would park it right in the parking spot right there. Charlestown. Go take a nap.
If you parked an RV near our work, and
you think
let's go have lunch. Yeah. Oh God, that might be dangerous. They might hang out in there. and not even be in the office.
I'd be like, guys, come in. I'm cooking lunch today in my IV on my propane stove. I'm taking a nap. You know what I mean? Could jerk off real quick. Who knows?
Yeah.
Limitations are possible, limitless. By the way, if you're watching the NL Wildcat game right here, St. Louis has a 1-0 lead in the third right now. So let's go Cards, because nothing makes me more happy than seeing Mookie Betts not make it to the next round.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And you can say what you want to say. They won a fake World Series last year, but they only played 55 games. But call me what I do.
I agree with you. That was not a real World Series win. It was bullshit last year.
No fans in the crowd. Listen,
no fans in the crowd.
And you only playing your direction of the country, right? Remember, you had the Northeast was only playing like we played like Washington and Baltimore and like Pittsburgh. We only play like the Northeast teams and like.
Yeah, it sucked. Last year was an asterisk.
Yeah, we'll just think that. So Dodgers, keep your fucking high horse low. We'll call it there. So, other than that, anything you plugging? You want to send?
Also, you could always check out the YouTube channel. It's just kind of sitting there on hiatus. I mean, like I always say, it'll come back at some point. I'm in no hurry. I'm in no hurry.
This is the end.
No. It'll be back when it's back. It'll be back when I feel like I have something to say. If I feel like I have anything to say, I'm not going to post it.
I mean, this Sopranos movie should have been something a nice review for you because I hear.
You know what? I did start writing. I have so much written. I don't want to film. I just don't really feel like filming. I have actually filmed stuff too that I deleted. I have made videos, produced them, and deleted them.
Really?
Yeah. I just.
Okay.
Feel it.
You're like Van Gogh. You know, the next thing you know, you cut your ear off.
But it's like I don't care. I don't care how many subscribe. I don't care. It's like if I want to post something and I like it.
Subscribers, like, are you getting messages like when's your next video and stuff? Are people like
yes? Oh yes, I have. There are people who constantly bother me who are like, dude, you got to talk about this. You got to talk about this. You got to talk about. And I'm just like,
you got a lot of subscribers. I mean, like
not a lot.
No, but like a good amount.
I guess I don't know, but I will. It's for me. It's never gonna make any real money. Like that's the way it's like.
It's like
I do it when it's fun, and I want to do it when
money.
I feel like I have something to say, and I don't feel like I have something to say right now. I got so pissed a few weeks ago because I deleted something. I actually completed a video, and I looked at it and watched it, and I was like, "This is fucking stupid."
Wow.
And deleted the whole fucking thing.
And you and me, I would have just posted it. Call it.
I just
collateral damage.
Yeah.
Well,
but you're right about that. I should probably do something for the Many Saints in Newark. You're right. I should probably do something for that because it was.
I haven't watched yet, but I should have watched it on Friday before I heard anyone's reviews.
Don't because you didn't watch the whole series. It's just gonna be useless to you.
No, but I watched parts of it, and I was kind of like hoping that I could get back into the series by watching this first. But everything I heard is like just like nothing kind of connects just a little bit. It's kind of disappointing.
I'll say I could save you 2 hours of your life by
There's no like twist or anything like that.
There's like a little. If you watch the series throughout, there's like a little thing that happens at the end that would be like, oh, now we know that.
Yeah,
but it's not worth a full 2 hours.
I was hoping it would give you like a background story of all the characters. So then if you went to watch episode 1 of The Sopranos, you would be able to like know all the characters already and kind of just be like in it. And I heard that's not it at all.
Not at all. No.
Like I watched I watched a little bit of Breaking Bad, but remember that movie that they released on Netflix? That was like the after fact or whatever.
Yeah, I still have to watch the Breaking Bad movie on Netflix. I haven't watched it yet.
But what was it called? If it was called like El Camino or something like that? Or...
Yes, El Camino.
It was good, and just knowing a general background on Breaking Bad, like knowing some of the key characters and everything, not knowing the entire series, the movie was really good. I was entertained by it. It felt
like a 2-hour episode, probably.
Basically, yeah.
Which is what the many.
This should have been the Sopranos movie should have been like kind of like a series. You think, right? Maybe they could have kind of like give you some more information.
Yeah, it should have been a miniseries on HBO. There's no reason to it does not justify a 2-hour.
Yeah. Ugh, that reminds me of like The Irishman. 3 hours of like something I could have done an hour and a half.
Fucking half a work day. Like that is a commitment. That is not. Yeah.
I watched it in 3 different parts because my attention span wasn't the flashbacks and like seeing these old men, these old Italian men. Just it reminded me of just being like at the Italian American club with like my grandfather and just like just talking about their stories. And it's like
no, I've always said if you're making a movie that long, you're a self-indulgent asshole. Like there's no reason a movie should be 4 hours long.
Do you remember back in the day when movies were long and you'd have the double VHS, like JFK?
I saw a fucking 3-cassette VHS tape once. Like that's just no.
Yeah, like Titanic was a double VHS. JFK was a double VHS. I mean, it's like
Schindler's List.
Schindler's List.
Yeah.
Fuck that. You know? Oh well.
Sorry for the rant.
Yeah.
We can...
All right, sir. We'll see everyone next week.
All right, buddy. See you tomorrow.
Motherfuckers. Bye.